afternoon and welcome to the SME Connect, a very interesting program where we're going to be discussing opportunities for the youth. My name is Tony Otoa, your host, and today a very interesting group of young people who are going to tell us about what they're doing, but also the opportunities that have emerged over the last few months. We know that COVID has really impacted on a lot of businesses, especially the youth-led businesses. Today, we have solutions to that. We have funding solutions and opportunities that can sort you out. We're going to be talking about the Youth4Business initiative, an initiative that has been brought forward by the United Nations Development Program in Uganda in collaboration with Stanbic Bank. Again, this initiative is out there for the youth to really tap into all these opportunities that are coming out to you. So my panelists today, I have Mr. Richard Musinguzi, who is a representative from the United Nations Development Program. He is a gentleman who has been a focal person in regard to youth development at UNDP. His current position right now is that of job creation, and that is a very crucial area that we shall be tackling in this segment. But we also have a very interesting lady who's called Barbara Kyokusima. Barbara Kyokusima is not only a very engaging young lady, but she is a lady who is in an area that has always been looked at as one that doesn't come or belong to the female gender. So we are going to be discussing how she is in there, how she's making it, and all of the aspects of her business. And finally, we shall also be having a very interesting young man who has decided to turn footballs or make footballs out of local plastics. And this is being done in Uganda. The gentleman we're talking about is Douglas Smith, a very interesting guy. And again, when I talk of Douglas Smith, do not start thinking of a youth from America or the UK. This is a man from Uganda who is showing you that you can actually have these solutions done locally to make things happen. So before we begin, I just want to also remind you about our social media platforms. We are live on YouTube, which is SME Connect. We are also live on social media, that's Comrade Otoa, and of course, Facebook, that is SME Connect. And of course, live on your TV screens on Urban TV. So let us start this conversation, which I hope will really be a very interesting one, intriguing one, but also a very crucial one for many of you who want to engage in business as young people. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
Very fine today.
Right. So let me begin with you, Mr. Musinguzi. Tell us about this initiative. What does it entail? What is it all about?
Thank you, Tony, and you welcome the youth on this panel.
Should I also remember, I had forgotten to also remind people that you are a senior youth, you know? And
yes,
maybe you'll also tell us what senior youth entails, but yeah, tell us about the program.
Yeah, no, the senior youth is because I've been supporting the youth development for a long time at UNDP. That's what I do on a daily basis. So I'm a pro-youth, I'm a senior youth, and I'm happy that the young lady is here with us today. Before I go into the detail of the facility, I would like to first put this into context. As you know, Uganda is one of the youngest countries in the world, actually after Niger. We have over 78% people below the age of 30 years, so that's a huge population.
Can you just repeat that? 78% are below the age of 30. That's huge.
It's a huge. And among those between 18 to 30, we have 23%.
Yes.
So this poses a lot of, we have this population and we need to invest in it. We need to make sure we tackle this well because they are the majority.
That's true.
So that causes also we have a lot of unemployment. The youth are 13.3% unemployed, okay? The 23% is the age of between 18 to 30. So still the numbers are huge. We have no choice. We need to invest in the young people.
Yeah.
So why this facility? This facility has come in to contribute in addressing unemployment in Uganda, given the huge numbers and how we need to invest in the young people. And more so, COVID, as you know, it has even affected us more. I'm told some youth, some businesses have actually more or less chewed their capital. So we really need to do something. It's really a huge thing. Now, with the big population in Uganda and knowing that we have many youth that are unemployed, usually the young people go into entrepreneurship. We have a lot of appetite in entrepreneurship. And as you know, the last report of the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor ranked Uganda as one of the most entrepreneurial country in the world. So this opportunity is there. However, is an option for employment creation, but there are many challenges. One of them is access to finance. So how do they access capital? Most partners or banks or whatever shy away from young people because of many reasons.
Yeah, let's also just put this into context. You have a lot of young people who are innovating, coming out with so many good ideas, coming out to, but because of their age, they have no history, a working history. They do not have a history of, financial history of 5 years per se.
Yeah.
This is what you want to tackle.
Yeah, this is what we want to tackle because we don't have many youth-friendly products for financing, and this is a challenge. And yet we are saying, go into business, this is one of the avenues that we are going to create many jobs and really change the terrain. So UNDP and Stanbic Bank have initiated this initiative to really contribute to this by coming up with some kind of innovative financing to help young people engaged in businesses to create the jobs for themselves, but also create the jobs for others. So this facility has a number of objectives. One of them, we want to support the young people, of course, to be able to take their innovation solutions, innovative
When you talk of
business.
innovation, what do you mean? Because as a young person, many young people connect innovation with IT, technology, within the tech space. What is innovation for UNDP, for Stanbic in this discussion on innovation?
Innovation here is not the technology only.
Okay.
You can come up with an idea to solve a particular problem in a community. So it does not need necessarily to be technology or ICT, and that's a wrong perception. Many young people think when I talk of innovation,
it's
talking about
quickly
technology.
computers, technology.
No,
yes.
it can't be in agriculture. It can't be in development minerals. I can come up with, even just collecting garbage and turning it into something that is profitable.
That is innovation.
So it is not only IT. It also has an element of IT. You can come up with a platform that is solving a problem, the digital platform, which is fine, but it is wider than that. So innovation, we are not looking at only one sector of ICT. So the other issue is to enable these enterprises to transform into kind of commercially viable businesses that will help them really be at scale and impact. Because most of the businesses, in Uganda, 2 years, the mortality rate is really high.
Indeed.
So we need to look at how can we support them, not to
I
collapse.
was telling someone, interestingly, if you went to Uganda Registration Services Bureau today, there are so many businesses that are being opened up. But if you went back in 2 years' time to ask about these same businesses that opened up today, you'll find that only 20% are still active.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Again, that's an issue that you want to solve. Business sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability.
Yes.
Beyond the 2 years, why do they die? So there's something that we're not doing right.
Sure.
And this initiative is coming in to fill that gap. Also, I've just mentioned about COVID. Everyone knows the challenges that we have on COVID everywhere. We need to support the SMEs to recover. I mentioned some have taken their capital into other things.
Some have closed shop because there's no money to
most have lost even jobs. So this is something, this facility is coming in to help that. And lastly, we also want to have a kind of platform. One of the objectives is to have a platform that will connect young people to others, to network, to have access to information. It's a big challenge. So we need to have a functional ecosystem for that. So those are some of the objectives of that.
Okay.
Now, we are targeting not only ICT sector, like you said, we are targeting a number of sectors, including agriculture. As you know, agriculture is more like the
Many
backbone.
young people think agriculture doesn't make money. I have seen some very interesting young people on Twitter. Some of them, I think I've seen Matunda Man, Slave Farmer, and all of these people who are actually speaking about farming. They promote farming, but the majority of the young people fear farming. They don't see it as a glamorous thing and it doesn't really bring in money. Why are you going in to support agriculture?
Well, we also need to prove that agriculture is profitable.
Sure.
There is one issue of patience. Some people are not so patient to wait for the year, for a season and what. But now, with modern technology, with value addition, you can transform your raw materials into something. So if you add value to what you're producing, you will definitely make the money. So we are coming up to tell you guys there are opportunities in agriculture sector. It's not that it's not profitable, and this is proven in many places. So we're also looking at tourism. As you know, tourism has really hugely been affected. Oh, yeah. So tourism is another one. So development minerals, and by development minerals, I'm not looking at the gold and what we have, like stones, for example, sand dust, and all over, and all those kind of things. So there are some young people doing things, and even women trying to trying to work in that sector. So we hope this facility can address those that are engaged into those kind of small scale mining, if you say.
Okay, so let us park that there. Let's now move to Barbara. Barbara Kyokusima.
Yes.
You are the managing director of Silverstone Management and Construction, right?
Yes.
What got you into that as a young lady? This is a very, crazy area. What got you into that? What made you, or what pushed you into it?
I have a background in quantity surveying, which
Right.
would say it's engineering a bit, and then with it came with managing projects. So as a young person, I have an urge to manage things and see them to come to pass.
Right.
So being thrust in that engineering world, I really wanted to make it and do my passion of making sure I deliver projects in time, in costs, that would serve the clients well. So I didn't mind whether there are many men in it. I'll just go for it and make sure that at least my clients get to experience my work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's quite interesting because I'm always I'm always in love with the idea of women who are taking leadership in such areas that have always been dominated by men. I think for me that's a great story for a lot of young women out there who aspire to do such great things like you're doing. But you see, what's really critical for me is you have stood out as a business for some time. You haven't gone through a situation where you almost feel like you're failing. You have gone through some training, I believe, to support your business and get it sustainable. What has that experience been like for you in terms of running a business?
I think that the first 3 to 4 years were very hard.
So your business has been in, okay, let's just go back.
Been
How long have you been in business?
8 years.
8
Close
years.
to- This is the 8th
And
year.
as a young person running a business, when did you start it? How old were you?
I started when I was about 25, 26.
25. Typical youth starting up a business. How has that journey been?
Initially, it was hard as a one-woman briefcase case, I would call it.
Yeah.
And then I would hop from project to project, and I didn't have so much of inline now, set up a place, hire this one. But then as I interacted with the workers on projects, I got to figure out how to create a team, how to make a team work and perform. And with time, I didn't know how to put it together. I'm thankful for Stanbic Business Incubator.
Fantastic. We'll talk about that soon, right?
Yeah. So some of those things is you have to learn, to be wanting to learn. I think the biggest challenge is to have that instinctive to want to learn and improve. And of which I find like many youth don't have that.
Yeah.
They want to make the money fast.
Yeah.
Then they
The
forget that.
deal mentality.
Yeah.
You want the money before you actually make your business work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't care about, am I solving my client's problem fast?
Right.
Because now women, okay, I would say women, we do have a challenge in our field. So we depend on referrals, I would say, most times. Of you do good work and someone refers you to the next person.
Client, right.
So for you to be able to thrive in that, I mean, you have to work.
Yeah.
And you have to do good work before profit. Profit comes
after.
So the first years is you don't have that capital like what he's talking about. And then you have to save to be able to build onto what you have. But most people don't save. What they make, they eat. And that's it.
So it's a lifestyle issue. And I think this is quite interesting because you've been to the Stanbic Business Incubator where you have gone through a whole phase of training. You've trained on so many issues from governance all the way to branding. How has that helped you in your business sustainability over this period of time?
Initially, I didn't have a plan. Like, say,
You
I'm
had
going
no business
somewhere.
plan.
I had no business plan.
So like a
at all.
typical business, because just to pack it there, most businesses that usually come to the business incubator, the first question we ask is if you have a business plan. Almost 95% have no business plan. So go on.
Yeah, I didn't have like where I'm going. Yeah,
Right.
I knew what I wanted to do.
But
maybe it gave me a thriving to do it. But I didn't say like, okay, if I'm managing, say, bangaroos, Next time I want to go to high-rise building. I didn't have a plan on how do I get there. But with the incubator, I realized that actually I can be as good as Rocco, even if the journey is long.
Right.
They get there 10 to 20 years. But you have to be focused and have a plan to get there. So, yes, I knew I wanted to improve and be better and be in business, but I didn't know how to create, how to make a goal, how to make objectives, how do I get there. So with the incubator, I think putting that together made me actually be happy about the business because I knew where I was going. That is very, very important. And then with businesses, you get the money, you don't record it anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, you keep the money, you eat it, or you save some, you don't have any record of this is expenses, daily expenses.
So this is a typical issue with youth-led businesses, I would say. The issues of lifestyle come into play. You know, when you're starting to make some money, you actually do not know whether you're making money, but you're starting to see some cash flow in your business, and then you think, woo, okay, it's time to buy the latest car with the latest number plate. Your lifestyle takes over, and that makes you fail to focus. But also what you've really mentioned is quite interesting. The fact that you wake up and you do not know where you are going, but you know where you want to go, but you have no set plan. It's kind of like waking up and walking out of your house and not being able to know where you're actually moving to. That's quite interesting. But as a woman in your field and a youth in your field, you inspire many people, and I think that is really commendable. But let me also ask the other pertinent question. Where do you see the future of young people in your construction business? Because a lot of the business people who are in your area are usually people who have been in, you just mentioned Rocco. The owners of these businesses are usually, you know, I would say very old people. They are beyond the youth. Where do you see the role of youth and women especially?
I think with these industries, one has to be persistent to build a brand, to build a quality of work that people relate to. I don't think the Esianis, the Roccos got where they are just in one day. If you see their managing director, they are a bit old, so to say, but they knew they had to save, they have to invest in their business, have operational efficiency to the point of where they can take on any job. Then the other thing that we people in young business, we don't comply to usual URA, taxes, legal things. Then we never get to participate in big deals that can change your life. Because a big deal such as just a $1 million contract can help you change your life for good. But most times they don't pay their URA on time. They don't have tax clearance. They are not registered anywhere. They are not known, but they are there working. So you stay stagnant in that same level until you're kicked out.
So two things here. It is important for you to be compliant as a business.
Yes.
That is what you're saying. Yes. Because if you're not compliant, it gets tough. And now URA is also introducing a lot of initiatives which are pegged to your national ID. So if you are not compliant, it makes it very difficult for you to do business.
Yes.
But also what you've also talked about, which I loved, was the idea of becoming a solution provider, not thinking about the money. Instead of running for the money, become a solution provider, because when you solve the problem, the money easily comes to you.
Definitely.
Again, also through the referrals. And I think I like that, because young people need to understand that it's important to focus more on making your client satisfied beyond expectations, and that way the money comes. But now let me pack that and go back to Mr. Musinguzi. Richard, many people will be asking one fundamental question of this initiative. How long is it for? Because she just talked about that, and her business might need to actually get part of your support. How long is this initiative? And if I may ask, what does one have to prepare to be eligible for that initiative?
Okay.
So I'm not talking about the eligibility of the person or the firm, but what do they have to do to prepare?
Okay, this initiative, like I already mentioned, it's going to be targeting a number of sectors. We also actually have a number of components. We have the Innovation Challenge Fund and Growth Accelerator. We have the Enterprise Challenge Fund, and we also have the ecosystem, the Youth Entrepreneurship and Innovation Ecosystem that I mentioned. Now, this facility is going to be for 5 years, starting now. In fact, fact, as I speak, we are about to launch the first call for proposals for the Innovation Challenge Fund, which will go out.
And where can people find that if they wanted to?
We're going to advertise it online. Stanbic website,
Sure.
UNDP, social media, everywhere.
All over,
so,
including the press, I guess.
Yeah, including the press as well, Vision, whatever. So it's going to be widely advertised. So it's a 5-year initiative, all the components, but we are starting with the Innovation Challenge Fund immediately because we need to really subject those who will qualify through a competition. And every year we're going to be running several calls, 1 to 3 for until the end of the cycle. It's a relatively big facility.
Right.
We're starting with 25 million budget for all
25 million US dollars. That is a huge budget.
Yeah, and this may grow depending on the demand.
Yes.
Remember, you're going to be looking at innovative businesses.
And again, also remember, so many youth are also coming up in those years.
The fund will grow. Yes. We are, like I mentioned, we are initially collaborating with Stanbic, but we're already in touch with other partners that are going to come on board. So it's going to actually grow. And of course, the successes will really determine how we move forward. So it's 5 years.
5 years.
To summarize that. And every year we'll be having calls.
So for business to prepare, they really have to become compliant, like she's saying, or come and show their innovations in a way that you can actually take care of.
Yeah, there will be a criteria. They need to ensure that they have certain basics for them to access.
And of course, these criteria you will put out in that advert that you're
we are going to really elaborate that.
Fantastic.
To be transparent process for them to really apply, and it's open for all use. There is no this one, no. That's why I said it's not only one sector, many sectors, and so it's really a good facility. And also, just maybe to conclude, it's not. It's going to help because the idea is how are we addressing unemployment. So we're going to have many youth apply for this facility because we really want to make sure that we create that real dent and say after 5 years we all celebrate that we've created employment for the young people. We are the majority. Yeah.
Fantastic. Let us just park there. But now, before we end this segment, let me just get back to you, Barbara. Barbara, what would you wish or what would you say to the youth out there who want to engage in your sector, for instance? In just a minute or so before we break off for our commercial break.
One is I wish them, the first thing is you have to follow your dreams and anything is possible. 2 is you have to go in spaces where you can grow and learn something. You have to join these, say, groups which help to mentor young ones to be innovative, say like metal fabrication. For women, there are other spaces where they can go in crafts or anything, but be in a space where you can grow and add value. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on the first segment of the SME Connect. This has been a great conversation between me, Richard, and of course Barbara, a very interesting lady who was going to show that you can actually break the norm. You can actually do things better and amazingly as long as you want that and you want to achieve it. So we're going to break off right now, get into a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by our other guest, Smith Douglas, or Douglas Smith, as many of you know him. Welcome back to the SME Connect, a very interesting edition where we are talking about youth in business. Joining us on this segment, we have a very interesting young man from Ibanda. The only man in Ibanda who probably has a name that is not assimilated or common with the area, but he's a man who's known by some English names, Douglas Smith. Douglas Smith is the inventor of this amazing ball. And what I can say from it is made in Ibanda, Uganda. Amazing concept. Welcome, Douglas.
Thank you, Tony.
How are you?
Great to be here. Thank you.
I mean, Richard, when you see a young guy like this, what goes into your mind?
What goes into my mind, I see is a young dynamic, vibrant,
Yes.
whom I think we really need to invest in for the future of this country. As I mentioned earlier, they are the majority, like him. I can see he's innovative. I haven't touched the ball, but you can see he's really doing amazing things. So these are kind of young people that we need to invest in as a country, and it should be a collective effort, all partners coming together to support them. It will help us solve the problem of unemployment. If
Fantastic.
we get many
Now,
Douglases like this, it will push us far.
Amazing, amazing contribution, especially from a senior youth. Now, Douglas, this ball, if I touched it, and I mean I've touched it, it doesn't feel like a ball made in Uganda. It feels like an original ball bought from Katumwa shopping complex and so on and so forth. But I mean, it's quite interesting that this is actually made in Uganda, out of Kampala, by young people. What drove you into this innovation?
First of all, Africa has one company that produces or manufactures soccer balls.
Okay.
And I thought about making the second company in Africa to produce soccer balls and based in Uganda. What inspired me is that I'm very passionate about sports. And I run a soccer foundation called the Smith Soccer Foundation. I've run the project for 3 years. But the biggest challenge has been acquiring soccer balls. First of all, soccer balls are very expensive in Uganda because 99% of the soccer balls, I would say 99% because now this is the 1%.
Yes. Yes.
So 99% of the soccer balls in Uganda are imported. And the reason why they are expensive is because they are imported. So we have had the biggest challenge of acquiring balls. We have also had balls being donated to our project, but the biggest challenge has been getting them from abroad. Most of the people that have donated these soccer balls from abroad, it has been a challenge having them here. So I really had to think outside the box. How best can I make things easy? So I had to think outside the box and be innovative enough and come up with an idea of manufacturing soccer balls in Uganda.
So you saw a problem, you made use of that situation to actually invent and provide a solution to that problem. And now you are providing balls to a lot of institutions and to Uganda as a whole. But what's interesting as well is you're employing people.
Sure.
So as a young man, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 26.
26, and you are employing people already. So you're a job creator. As a young man, you have said you're going to use your passion of football, sport, to create something that is within the same realm and, create employment. But what's also interesting is this ball feels handmade. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, it is handmade. Most of the soccer balls that we use in the world are handmade.
Okay.
The biggest company in Africa, in Uganda, in the world that manufactures soccer balls is called Colt Sports Industry, and 80% of the balls that we use in the world are manufactured by that. By that
80%.
Yeah.
By one entity.
One entity.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they are handmade. So this ball you see, it is handmade. We use our hands to stitch together those ball panels that you see, and it is a process that I think maybe we can talk about in a later stage here.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But now, Douglas, I know as a businessman, as a sportsman, you've been facing challenges. What are some of the business challenges you've faced in trying to get this innovation out there or to get it accessible to the public?
Absolutely, there are very many challenges, of course, especially when you have such a startup, especially funds, of course.
Right.
And one of the biggest challenges that we have is labor. Labor. Like I said, now this ball you see, we do everything manually.
Right.
Like the ball panels, we cut them manually using a scissor instead of using a machine, because there is a machine that does that.
So you're limited in the number of balls you can make in a week.
Absolutely,
in a day.
yeah.
Okay.
So in a day we make 1 or 2 balls. So if we had a machine, we would be making around 20 balls or 30 balls. Yeah.
Wow, it's quite interesting. I mean, that's a crazy thing. And I think, Richard, now this comes back to you because we see a common theme here. access to finance to be able to run and make these innovations accessible to the general public. But also what's interesting, Richard, is this is a young man. He's employing already a great number of people, say about 6 within the same enterprise. He could do more with support. Now, which brings me back to our project. Tell us about the eligibility for this initiative. Can a man like Douglas Smith here come to you and say, I have this innovation, it's a football innovation, I would like to get as much funding? And again, tell us also how much funding you are willing to give a man like Douglas.
Thank you very much. Yes, he can apply. As I mentioned earlier, the facility is really wide for innovations. This is a good example. This is not ICT, this is not an app, you see, so he is eligible. But then let me take you through briefly the criteria. First, at least a business could be individual firm or joint venture must be registered in the laws of Uganda. At least we need to have an address that you are registered. That's point number 1. Now 2, remember our main objective is to create employment, more so for the young people who are really the majority, as I mentioned. So one of them is, it must be a youth, it can be a youth-led business, including the young person being in the day-to-day management of that business. So youth-led, that's one.
So if I am, say, 50, but the majority of my employees, let's say 95% are youth, do I qualify?
Yeah, so I mentioned one. So you could be either a young person leading a business, and you are in the day-to-day management of that business.
Okay.
Secondly, you can be an entrepreneur, like you mentioned, but your business is employing youth. It is creating employment for young people. You are dealing in one kind of line of business, but you're creating directly youth jobs for youth, both directly or indirectly. You could also be an entrepreneur, but you are engaging young people in your supply chain, for example. Maybe like if you say Coca-Cola, and then as an example, I'm not saying Coca-Cola is the farm, but when you say in our supply chain, the young people are distributing, the young people are providing raw materials, the young people are providing services to my business, because the whole issue is how are we creating the employment. So you can still also qualify. So that's another criteria number 2. Again, remember the idea of innovation, which is our main focus. You are engaged in an innovative business, so you're trying to solve a particular challenge, like he's solving a particular challenge in a community. Barbara, you know, she's into infrastructure.
Yes.
Others are engaged into environmental degradation and all that. So your business must be looking at, must be solving a particular problem, but we are looking at a wide spectrum of sectors, as I mentioned. I'll start again with agriculture. I mentioned tourism, development minerals as another thing, manufacturing, you know. So it's not for one sector. So as long as your business is solving a particular problem in any of those sectors, you're eligible. Now, lastly, the business must also be having some kind of results, or you must have been in the business for 12 months at least.
12 months.
12 months, and because the facility will help you to grow, but you also need to have proven the concept. So we're not saying real startup. Though that is not the end. Those who will apply and maybe are not yet ready, but they are promising, will again support them through the growth accelerator, actually Stambik.
Yes.
So that's the criteria generally.
And they become potential pipeline for the next year.
Yeah, they can apply next time, they'll be ready. Barbara just mentioned here, one of the challenges of young people, they don't register the businesses. Maybe they're having particular challenges in how to access this or how to formalize. So we will hold them by the hand, the facility, and especially the Stambik Bank growth accelerators bit will help this person move from point A to point B, formalize, register, depending on the problem. The problem can be different. And then next time they'll be ready. And we'll be running these calls every year for the next 5 years.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now, in terms of the funding, like I mentioned, we're going to have grants, okay? UNDP will be providing grants from 10,000 to 40,000. But we also expect them to
40,000 US dollars.
40,000 US dollars. So I'm speaking in US dollars
Yes.
here. 10,000 to 40,000 US dollars,
Yes.
a range depending on the idea, the business entity, what you're dealing in, and all. What are the problems? You know, they will be putting up a proposal. But that's not all. There will also be support from the incubator,
Yes.
the growth accelerator component, to help them be mentored, be trained. You heard Barbara mentioned she didn't even have a plan. So help them, how do they do business plan, viable plans, and all that. So there will be this kind of incubation for them to really grow and be ready. Even those that will receive funding, even those that are promising will be supported. And thanks to Stanbic Bank partnering with us, that they will even take on more on that. Yeah. So that's the funding. And I mean, these grants are available. It will be open, transparent.
Yes.
There will be a lot of support.
Yes. So I'm glad to say that this is going to be something that will give a breath of life to people like Douglas, because Douglas, your funding is probably only coming in from the sales that you're making. Which I may ask, by the way, how much are you selling? I mean, or where are you selling these balls and for how much?
Yeah, the sales depend on the quality of the ball.
Okay, so you have different levels.
Yeah, we have different levels to suit
You're a
different
smart
kind of
businessman, huh? You don't go with one. Okay.
So our balls range from 60,000 to 100,000.
Wow. Okay. So who are the people that you're selling these balls to, or the entities that you're selling these balls to?
There are very many entities that we are selling these balls to.
Yeah.
First of all, there are clubs or local clubs in Uganda, especially the regional leagues. Regional league clubs,
yes.
District league clubs,
yes.
And we are also meeting with FUFA on Friday to discuss possible ways about how we can partner and see how we can have our balls be played in the Uganda Premier League.
Okay.
And also schools. Companies, that's why you see they are customized.
I can see.
Yeah.
So this was customized for KCCA.
Yeah, we tried to make that because we wanted to show clubs that we can make a special customized ball
for them.
For them.
Made in Uganda.
Absolutely.
Interesting. That's quite interesting because Doug, unlike so many young people, you have taken on this challenge and you decided to make it work. But I think also what's also crucial to understand is when we look at the sports industry in Uganda, there's so much demand for such, such things, like the balls and so on and so forth. How many are you able to make in a day?
In a day, we're able to make around maximum 2 balls. To be honest, maximum two balls, because we still have a challenge of labor. We can't manufacture many balls because we don't have machines to do the cutting and punching of these panels. These panels you see, these ball panels you see,
yes,
these ones, they are supposed to be cut and punched by a machine, but we use our hands. Manually, we use our scissors to cut the panels, and then we punch them using our own hook, and then we stitch them together to come up with a whole ball. So
if I came as an investor, let's say with some money in my pocket, and I asked you, what would you need to make more balls and make more money?
I would need a machine. We usually call it a die cutting machine, that cuts and punches these panels. And we would need funds to bring in more employees to help us in stitching, other.
And this is quite interesting because I think, Richard, we can see that the program that you're partnering with Stanbic can provide that avenue for a lot of young people like Douglas, because what we have seen is that a lot of young people have these great innovations, these great ideas, but the reason why they give them up and just go and do other things and go back to their 9-to-5 jobs, which are not, fulfilling, is because they lack the kind of funding that, can. So I think Douglas here is a great opportunity that a lot of young people
I'm
should
really
be
grateful.
jumping on. And again, a young man like you, I think, could do even much more. You would do 10 times this if
Sure.
you get the right support. But also, what's I think also really critical is to see that you have a vision. You have an idea of where you want to go. I mean, I can see your vision being an African vision.
Sure.
You want to run the industry in Africa. And that is great. And the idea that you're running it out of Uganda makes it even greater as an ideal. And again, this is something that a lot of young people need to think about as they get into business. It's not just about the money. And here we see the passion coming into this. And again, you're also saying you're not going to wait for the right moment. You will make the moment right for you to make this happen. And you have done it already. So maybe as a parting shot, tell us what you would want to see out of your business, but also what you would tell youth in terms of aspiring when it comes to business and doing what they love.
First of all, our vision is becoming East Africa's leading football manufacturing company in the next around 5 years. And what I would like
5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And
That's
what I
nice.
would love to tell the youth is that start, no matter where you are, no matter what you have. For us, I normally love to call myself a proud villager.
We all love to. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've come up with this idea from deep in the village in Uganda.
Right.
Very few people know about Uganda.
And now it's being played in Kampala.
Now it's being played in Kampala.
Instead of from Kampala to Uganda.
To Uganda.
Amazing.
So that's why I say you have to start, no matter where you are, no matter what you have.
Yeah.
And another thing is that begin. When you begin, you're halfway done.
Yes. Fantastic. You Uganda people are really inspiring. I mean, I know Patrick Bitature too. He was one of one of our guests on this show from Uganda. Amazing businessman.
We usually want to call Uganda the Silicon Valley of
Oh, the
Uganda.
I don't know where that will put Lira, but we shall talk about that when our time comes. So, Richard, your parting shot. Where do you want to see your initiative supporting the likes of Barbara, the likes of, Doug Smith here, and so many young people with amazing ideas? What's your vision for this 5-year project?
Well, the vision is to really create thousands and thousands of jobs through the initiative. Douglas is eligible to apply. I just outlined the criteria. So we want to make sure we support as many young people, even those that will not get funding, but they will get the skills. He just mentioned, sometimes you need the actual hands-on skills to hold you, to formalize, and the opportunities are huge. There's a saying that some people think that if I'm doing informal and I'm not registered, that's when I'll make more profit. No, it doesn't mean that. You can formalize, you can be registered, and then opportunities follow you. So the vision is really to ensure that we support as many young people as possible as the fund grows, as we get more partners on board beyond Stambik. So we are looking at creating thousands and thousands of employment through this initiative. And for me, that's what I want. I want a man like Douglas to have grown his business from this level to another level. He doesn't have a machine. Maybe if his proposal is successful, he can buy the value addition machines and he can produce more. He will even create more people because he's going to employ others. So he's creating employment, and that will help us move as a country in addressing the issue of unemployment. This is one of the ways. And like I mentioned, it's really open to many sectors. It's not an IT, you see the man is in sports, but he's creating employment. He has potential to grow. So that's what we are looking at.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the SME Connect for this week. We have been discussing Youth4Business, the Youth4Business initiative, which is being spearheaded by UNDP in partnership with Stanbic Bank. My panelists today have been very amazing people. We've had Barbara Kyokusima on the show, an amazing lady in the construction and real estate business. We've had a very interesting guy all the way from Uganda, Mr. Doug Smith. He likes to call himself a proud villager. I think also subscribe to the same. And of course, a senior youth, Mr. Richard Musinguzi. The reason why we call him senior youth is because he's been at the center of these youth issues for the last 15 years and above. So we thank you for watching us. And ladies and gentlemen, please try and find out more about this. And you can, of course, contact the UNDP. And of course, these adverts will be shown shortly. But thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to hosting another session next week where we shall be showing you more about how to do business the right way.